guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, I talk about 4 different types of freedom: time, financial, location, health freedom. And I'm happy to welcome today's guest, Rich Kozak. And he's got an amazing story talking about branding, transitioning from corporate to helping individuals and creating a lasting impact. So I'm always looking for those people that are doing things on the cutting edge and making a significant difference. And I'm happy to welcome Rich to the show. Welcome.
Chris, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun. And frankly, I think anyone who's listening to this episode may get a blessing for their business and maybe even for their life. So let's do it.
Yeah. What's interesting is you're all about branding. So I'm really excited to get started. Tell us more about your background and how you came to create impact-driven brands.
You know, I'd be glad to, but let's take the elephant in the room first. Most people, when they hear the word branding, well, let's just say that if you took 1,000 people and they all heard the word branding, they might think different things, but there's some common denominators. One is that I don't trust it. Branding is tricky. It's like advertised, it's like, it's too big for me. I'm too small. Branding doesn't matter for me. Oh, I know I need it, but I don't even know what it is. We've tried it before, but I need help. Or, you know what? I've been doing something for 30 years and I'm ready to take it to another level, but I feel stuck like at the next gate to the next level of my brand because I don't even know how to think about that, but I can't not get it right. I got to get it right. It's those things. It's all those things from different kinds of people. So let's answer the question, what the heck is a brand? And I'll do it really quickly. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Perception, but it's not your perception. It's everyone else's. And so brand is everything you or your team gets to do to shape a consistent perception of you and what you do, your work, your gift, your calling, your company, your entity, your impact, so that it moves you forward in the direction you want to go. Branding is all those things you get to do to shape that perception. And when you bring it down to its basics, it's just a process. So you might think you need a guru or exotic branding language, or if you know the process, you can be the champion of your own brand. And there are things that when you know them and you do them, you'll be much more successful. Brands either come alive and people go, whoa, that's great. I've got to go, but can I have your card? Or, wow, I would like to know more about that. Or they fall flat, and mostly they fall flat. So someone says, this is what I do. And people go like, oh, that's nice. That's fall flat. And we've all been there, right? And sometimes when you say it a certain way, people go, wow, that's great. And you say it a different way and they go, oh. The clarity with which your brand speaks shapes its first impression and then shapes its impact. Okay. How in the world did I get started in branding? Is that what you said? All right. We'll do this quickly, just so you know where I came from. The largest chunk of my career, it was 17 and a half years being the executive vice president of what you might call at the time, integrated marketing communications firm, a high-tech branding company. We wrote speeches for presidents. We built websites. We did email campaigns. We created all kinds of collateral material. We got articles in magazines, so all those pieces of marketing execution that are required for a company to, let's be specific, achieve its sales goals for that year, or to launch its new product, or to take a position in their industry that trumps their competitor, or that takes market share, whatever it was. It's managing marketing communications to move the brand forward. And in many cases, we would begin by assessing how clearly their brand was understood, what people felt they stood for, how they felt about them, because if that's off, that needs to change before you get successful at moving forward. So big boy branding. When I turned 50, I was still doing all-nighters. I would say I was addicted to the work. I'm really quite good at it. I love it. We create results all the time. But I was gaining weight. I was not in very good health. And I just felt that I should change my career to reshape my life. And so I resigned a very successful career because I wanted to still be around. And I know that God put us here for a reason. And I wanted to focus a little bit more on that. As we teach what we need as God would have it. Within years, people were asking me to help them individually. And when I explained that I really didn't do that anymore, they clearly explained, because they were in my networks, you've never stopped, Rich. You just don't charge for it. And I need your help. Don't kid around. I need your help. I want to create this brand. So I helped 3 people. And at the end of that, I realized, taking what I had taught to large companies, because it's a process, and they don't know it's a process either. Companies are often run by people who are financial or legal, not marketing backgrounds. So they look with disdain at marketing and branding, and they would tilt their head on the side and say, wow, I never thought of branding as a process. But we would show them explicitly the steps that it takes to evolve and then language a brand so that everything a brand says and does across the spectrum aligns with the impacts that it wants to make, or the strategy that it needs to be successful at. What I realized in helping those individuals is that when we help people, and if you're listening to this, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're a physician of any kind, if you have a profession of any kind, if you have, even if you are a physician and you've discovered a product or a system and you want to share it with the world because you know it's going to impact people's lives or a business or in some major way, just realize that when you take just 7 steps, that brand will communicate so clearly. It will always be authentic to you because it comes from your heart when you write down the impacts you clearly see making. And then when the brand is languaged, it sounds like you. It has to, because of the way it was defined. And when it's unique to you and it attracts like a magnet because it has unique language that transfers energy, your brand comes alive and you attract those people that you know you really want to impact, and you do it faster. So you get to the money faster. I have to finish this story. Well, the reason I'm back in branding is not just because I realized that what I did for big companies could be applied to individuals and help them be more successful. When the moment for me was an aha moment, I was sitting in a church service in the choir loft and heard something that made me realize that what I'm doing with individuals, helping them reach into to ask themselves, whom do I clearly see impacting their life, their business, in some way through my work, that God put those desire for impacts in their hearts, and that this isn't my work, it's God's work. So one of my signature speeches is, when does branding become God's work? And we're not going to go off on a tangent here, but that's one of the reasons I'm back in branding. Not only does applying these marvelous steps of branding when you know them help your brand come alive more than it ever did before, because it communicates with crystal clarity and everything's aligned with the impacts you want to make, it builds a platform for you that enables you to more easily step from that business platform into the purpose of why you're here. Praise God. That's why I'm back in branding. You can get part way or you can go the whole way. most people that have I've been doing this for 46 years. Okay. I've also been married for 46 years and 51 Valentine's Days. I'm a very fortunate man, be able to say those two things. And I know a lot about every aspect of marketing because I've lived them. Marketing is the execution of an excellent branding strategy. You've got to have the definition and the brand definition and the languaging first. Then the brand can open its mouth and be consistent. Many people get it backwards because the world wants to sell them marketing services and it uses the word branding to sell it. Oh, what you need is this will be good for your branding. But those people, they're just selling marketing service. They don't know what branding really is, and they wouldn't be able to define what makes a brand come alive if you paid them serious money. But they use it. And so people think, well, you know what? I don't have time for branding. We'll just get some leads. That's what we need. And then we'll worry about the branding later. And in that process of doing it backwards, they create confusion. They say things in different ways, so that doesn't resonate with people. They don't have unique language that they've developed that transfers energy. So they really stand alone and unique and position themselves versus the other people that their target audiences would think do the same thing they do. But if they had a really clear umbrella brand that really stood for them, it would always be unique and answer the question, in your case, why Dr. Lou versus why Dr. Jones? It's like, why? That's the question when you're dealing with, individual practitioners. Why you? When you have that crystal clear brand that communicates in unique language that transfers energy, the answer why you comes a lot easier. And it always feels like you. You don't have to put on some brand shoes that somebody slaps on you, that now you have to be the silver-haired, scion of, whatever. I mean, it's like somebody comes, the Robin Hood of whatever, and oh yeah, next. You don't have to be some brand that somebody slaps on you. You're just your umbrella brand stands for everything you are and everything fits. It's amazing. And the things you do, like let's say you want to speak or you want to write books or you want to teach or you want to share what you do with others so it can be passed on. Whatever gives you joy can be done much more successfully, much more impactfully, and you'll attract your people who really want you, need you most because your brand is so clear. So obviously I like what I do and I know how powerful it is. And I'm not your normal branding guy. At least I don't think I am.
Very interesting. I really, we could go on and because I know a lot of audience are interested in impact branding and language messaging clarity. How can people follow you on social media, contact you, reach out to you?
Well, I think the easiest and most valuable way, because you'll feel it pay off right away, I've recently started a podcast, the Impact Brand Doctor podcast with Rich Kozak, the Impact Brand Doctor podcast with Rich Kozak. And if you go to my website, they're listed, the ones there, I think we've launched 7 now, but I have 26 in the can and we're doing another 26 very, very soon. So they'll be coming out pretty quickly. In every podcast, we listen to the challenge that the person has, and I tell a story and then give a rich strategy nugget that is a do. It's like the do's and don'ts, but I just give the do. This is the nugget, and write this down. And there's 2 of them in every podcast. So if you subscribe, just go to the other podcasts and listen to them. I share them in my speeches. I share them in the book, Impact Driven Branding, 7 Steps to Impact People's Lives and the World. It's about to launch. I'm speaking at Best You Expo in Los Angeles this week, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And this podcast probably will launch after that. But those speeches will be on Best You TV, I think. And we have some real cool specials for that show. So get a hold of me and just email me at rich@richbrands.org. Don't get the ORG wrong. It's richbrands.org. That's the website, and you can find everything on there. And you can reach me just by sending me an email at rich@rich, and you'll hop on a Zoom call and you can tell me about you if you want to. So, but the way to get the most value is, I would say, 2 things. One is listen to podcasts, and the other is we give, and it's right on the homepage on the website, get our free branding FAQ, frequently asked question, straight talk videos. I cut 8 little videos, total of 18 minutes. Just get them. Go to the brand you will become, or go to the website and just click the button. And you'll get access to those 8 videos. Listen to them. They answer a lot of questions that you would like to ask, like what makes a good brand? And you get a straight answer, not trick language, not entrancing branding language, because I don't do that here. You get straight talk. It's just a process. And, you know, you don't need all that fancy schmancy stuff to make you think that other people know stuff you don't. It's pretty common sense when you look at it, and it's just a process. So those 2 things, I'd say, you know, the website and look at the Impact Brand Doctor podcast. I'll also be uploading 8 sections called Impact Driven Branding with Rich Kozak, which is 8 mini podcasts that talk about the 7 steps. So you'll find that probably within the next month. And you'll, at some point, you'll want to know more. Some point you'll want to get connected. Every month we do and you'll find this on the front page of the website too. Every month we do a half-day event. It's very inexpensive, but it gives you 100 times the value of the $97 you pay for it. It's called Branding You with Impact. And you go there and it rearranges how you think about what it means to have a brand that's you are the founder, and there's an entity with a name that you create. So there's that brand, but there's you, the founder, you know, either or. And what happens when you define and language that brand clearly, and what happens when you don't? It'll change your mind about how you think about branding and its value and how it works and what it does. And I highly recommend that to anyone who knows they don't know even how they feel about branding, but it's either a weight on their shoulders. They know they need to do it, but they need to do it right. But who will understand them enough? And if you come to that half day, I'm always there, and you'll get your head rearranged about branding, and that'll be a blessing. Okay, I swear. And you probably end up coming to our 1-day workshop and then maybe joining Brand Accelerator Group, because when people realize, wow, I can get this and I can get it quickly, and it's not some fancy stuff that I have to become that I'm not really, don't want to be. And then, I don't want to go that way. We offer a program in 7 days over 8 weeks. So it's really weekend. It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a month, Friday, Saturday, a month, Friday, Saturday. In that short of time, all of the work of languaging and developing and writing content, titles and subtitles, like probably 50 content and subtitles, content titles and subtitles you can use for the next 3 years. Really, really unique language that helps you transfer energy and share your brand in ways that you never did before. That's amazing. People don't know that even exists. And it does. We call it Brand Accelerator Group. And I have a special offer at Best You called Elite Brand Accelerator Group. People sign up and pay for Brand Accelerator Group, and they get me for 6 months in addition, which is huge. So that's a reason to get to the, but if you missed it, call me and we'll talk.
For the all the audience out there, let's thank Rich for a really interesting, unique way of looking around brand and brand strategy. All of his resources will be in the links and show notes, as well as his social media handles. And with that, thanks so much, Rich, for coming onto the show.
Chris, thanks for asking me. I know people heard things that they've never heard before. And like I said, it could be a blessing to their business and to their life. And I wish them the best. Thank you very much for the work you do. It's awesome.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.